We'll quickly check in with the conference organizers to see if I have time for follow-up questions or if I should go ahead and open to the audience. 5-10 minutes. Okay, so I will ask a few questions but be quite brief because I want to make sure that the room has the opportunity to participate. Given that overview of the Eastern Mediterranean, I was wondering, Minister Stathakis, to go back to your comments about Greece working on its own offshore development plans. I wanted to see how this fits in with the broader context of Eastern Med discoveries, if these are viewed as positive developments that Greece is hoping to emulate in some fashion, and if so, how that will help Greece serve as sort of a crossroads or a gateway, as has been alluded to throughout this conversation.
Well, our offshore findings are relatively recent compared to Israel, Cyprus, and Egypt, and we are practically one step behind the development as they go on to the broader region. But the idea is that there are those similarities in the initial findings that have produced such an interest from companies that are interested to go on with research and the potential exploration. Now, we had made most of the plans of the infrastructure project did not take into account those new findings. What we might have to work on is how these new findings, and to the extent that they will be explorable and have a specific potential, can be linked to the specific infrastructure that we are building, based on the idea that Greece is at the crossroads in any case. It has been long ago. The world didn't change that much in that respect, so we'll still be there in the future.
Thank you. Minister Petkova, you alluded to a few projects that are nearing some kind of potential completion in the next few years, from the Alexandroupolis LNG facility, or FSRU, to the IGB interconnector to TAP as well. And I was wondering, given the time frame, does that put 2020 really on the energy calendar for Southeast Europe?
Безспорно тези проекти са изключително важни.
Undoubtedly, the projects that you have mentioned are very important, and that's why they're projects of common interest for the whole region. One of these is the gas interconnector Greece-Bulgaria, which is a top priority of the EU, and this is not by chance, because it will ensure a large number of natural gas sources for the whole region. Each of these joint projects has its own importance and its own position in the energy policy of Southeast Europe and in the energy policy in general of Europe and the European Union. All these projects that you have mentioned presuppose a large number of actions to be taken, and much effort is required in order to make this step towards energy security and the diversification of energy sources and routes. As regards Bulgaria specifically, it does hold a strategic geographic position, which means that it is a natural route for natural gas. Bulgaria also has 80% of the compression stations, which means that we can ensure two-way flow and high quality also. That's why all of us who are participating in this event today, I think, understand how important the topic is vis-à-vis the geopolitical development of the whole region, and that we all need to work hard in order for these projects to be completed as soon as possible.
Liberty of asking any additional follow-up questions. I want to check with the audience to see if we have time for one or two, if there are any questions around the room.
Thank you very much. I have one question. Sorry, I'm from Unis Energy Group. My name is Petri Panoglou. I have one question from Mr. Steinitz. You spoke about the interconnection, gas interconnection of Israel. Considering the fact that Israel is more or less like a big island grid for the electrical side, do you also see the value of electrical interconnection of Israel?
Thank you for the question. First, sometimes we really feel like an island. Sometimes we would like to become an island, but this is not the reality. And by the way, speaking about island, you know that Mr. Statakis is from Crete. And I can tell you that I'm very suspicious. If they will find new gas, it's probably south of Crete. And then it won't be 4 countries in the East Med. It will be 5 countries. Israel, Cyprus, Crete, Greece, and Italy, because I think he is planning to declare independence in such a case, and he will be the Prime Minister of Crete suddenly. Of course, he won't disclose it, but I have some suspicions about it. Anyhow, speaking about interconnector, this is something that we are examining together with Cyprus and Greece. Israel, you said it's like an island, but actually, the fact that we already have pipes with the pipe with Jordan is completed, the pipe with Egypt needs some. There is already the system is already in place. Needs some adjustments, but the system in place. We are already planning the pipeline to lead the gas to the Palestinian Authority for the Jenin power station that is going to be built there. So actually, we are not an island in the energy sector. It's very surprising, and I can tell you that also with the Arab world, I got a lot of, I have many meetings with Arab energy ministers. Some of them were known now with my Jordanian and Egyptian colleagues, and I visited also the United Arab Emirates. Some of them are still, they ask to be clandestine, but I can tell you that when we started the development of Leviathan, the biggest gas field, 2 years ago, I got a lot of greetings from Arab energy ministers. Welcome to the club. It's good that Israel is now playing also as an energy producer and so on and so forth. It's really, at least in this field, we are cooperating to a certain extent also with the surrounding. About the interconnector, of course, we are having discussions with Cyprus about connecting Israel and Cyprus. The electricity grid, it's still important for us. We cannot trust Syria in case of emergency to back our electricity system. And I believe that in the future, Greek and Cyprus are also, this is also on the agenda. So in the future, we might have a connection here between Europe through via Greek to Cyprus and Israel, and who knows, maybe in the future via Israel also to other countries in the Middle East. This was even discussed, but I won't get into details. But currently we are speaking about, we are considering connecting the electric grid between Cyprus and Israel. At first place it's close, and then Greek and Cyprus, which will be also Greek and Israel. Maybe Mr. Statakis is still a Greek representative, so maybe he can say something about it.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? I see one in the back.
The Minister of Israel mentioned in a humorous way that probably Crete needs to declare independence in order to get the exploration from the sources that it has in its area. I was going to...
just a joke. Yeah, I didn't want to.
I said humorously. I said humorously.
Okay, okay.
So I'm going to take it.
We don't joke about that.
I'm going to take it in another step. Should we think about uniting instead of separating? For example, we have the recent example of a disruption of exploration with a military manner from a state outside the European Union. Should we see a more European united effort in order to secure the European energy resources?
The question is for me. I'm the only non-European on the panel.
The question is general.
Okay.
Of course, Minister Stathakis and the minister from Bulgaria are both members of the European Union. As Cyprus, since you represented, as you said, the Cypriot minister, energy minister. So in that respect, you are related. But how about securing the energy resources? Do you see that there should be a European level security effort in order to secure that there is not going to be a disruption on the exploration of the resources, both gas and oil?
Thank you. If anyone would like to make a final closing comment on European unity when it comes to resources?
Well, I'm less concerned than the issues raised by the question. I don't believe in military solutions at any real conflict, to be honest. But I think that it has, at the end of the day, the explorations will go on, and those problems will be resolved at a different level altogether.
Thank you very much for those closing words, and thank you to all of you for being here with us today, for sharing your thoughts. And the audience, thank you. Please join us.